Imagine growing up black in America in 1990. You watched television. You listened to music. You watched sports. You read Jet and Ebony. You went to church. You went to college. Whether you knew it or not, black Greek letter organizations were everywhere. Today, many young people couldn't name a single one. So what happened? Black Greek letter organizations were never just fraternities and sororities in the way the word Greek life gets used elsewhere. From the moment the first of these organizations was founded, in the early 1900s, they were built around commitments to scholarship, service, leadership, and civic responsibility. They represented an escape into a better life through sacrifice, hard work, education, and connections. But their influence wasn't always loud. It wasn't always a headline. It was embedded, quietly, structurally throughout Black America. It became a black institution like the Church, NAACP, and others, who had the power to uplift its members into better standards of living. Start with music, because music is where this is easiest to hear, once you know to listen for it. Duke Ellington, an initiated member of Alpha Phi Alpha. Lionel Hampton, also Alpha Phi Alpha. Count Basie, Omega Psi Phi. Nancy Wilson, an honorary member of Delta Sigma Theta. Roberta Flack, an actual initiated member of Delta Sigma Theta, pledged at Howard University's Alpha chapter in the spring of 1955, where she also served as the chapter's business manager, years before Killing Me Softly made her a household name. George Clinton, inducted as an honorary member of Omega Psi Phi in 2020, closing a loop that had already started decades earlier, when his 1982 hit, Atomic Dog, became an unofficial anthem for the fraternity nicknamed the Q Dogs, long before he ever wore the letters himself. And Anita Baker, an initiated member of Alpha Kappa Alpha, who had that deep voice that became Toni Braxton's calling years later. Hal Williams, recognizable to anyone who grew up watching Sanford & Son or 227, is an initiated member of Omega Psi Phi. Phylicia Rashad, Claire Huxtable herself, is a member of the Alpha chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha, initiated during her own undergraduate years at Howard. From there, the list gets longer than you'd expect. Keenan Ivory Wayans, Alpha Phi Alpha, pledged at Tuskegee years before In Living Color ever existed. Wanda Sykes, Alpha Kappa Alpha, out of Hampton University. Steve Harvey, Omega Psi Phi, crossed at Kent State in 1969, decades before his own talk show. John Singleton, Kappa Alpha Psi, initiated at USC in 1987, for years before Boys and the Hood, made him the youngest person ever nominated for Best Director. Keisha Knight Pulliam, Delta Sigma Theta, pledged at Spelman, the same sorority Roberta Flack pledged decades earlier at Howard. And two more carry the letters as honorary members. Angela Bassett, inducted into Delta Sigma Theta in 2013. Malik Yoba, an honorary member of Phi Beta Sigma. It wasn't just about the names. Many shows directly or indirectly reference the BGLO. A Different World gives glimpses of the culture. Smiley had a white Q hopping on his show. School Days showed the politics. How High showed views from an outsider. Drum Roll shows how it impacted HBCU environment. Fresh Prince made it cool. The era of the 80s and 90s showed countless examples of that world. Michael Jordan, a member of Omega Psi Phi. Shaquille O'Neal, also Omega Psi Phi. Jerry Rice, Phi Beta Sigma, pledged during his college years at Mississippi Valley State. Walt Frazier, the Knicks legend, a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. And two Hall of Fame level names from the same fraternity, Wilt Chamberlain and Penny Hardaway, both Kappa Alpha Psi. Many black athletes shared the same type of bond with their frat or soror as they encountered in sports. And as professional leagues became bigger and athletes made more money, they made the BGLO more well-known every time they flashed a sign or barked a chant. Martin Luther King Jr. was initiated into the Sigma chapter, Boston metro area, of Alpha Phi Alpha. Thurgood Marshall, initiated into the new chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha while an undergraduate at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. Andrew Young, who crossed into Alpha Phi Alpha during his own years at Howard. Civil rights and politics is where the BGLO has made the biggest difference in everyday life. This is covered in other videos at the enormity of the impact, an impact that was near its height in the 80s and 90s. John H. Johnson, founder of Ebony and Jet, pledged Alpha Phi Alpha's Theta chapter in 1938, years before either magazine existed. Robert L. Johnson, founder of BET, is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. Kathy Hughes, founder of Radio One, is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. Tavis Smiley pledged Kappa Alpha Psi at the fraternity's own birthplace, Indiana University. And Stuart Scott, the voice of an entire generation of ESPN, was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. Business and wealth play very large in the Black community, especially wealth. Black wealth has become its own subculture, and that culture would not be as well established without the help of the BGLO. That's 6 different corners of American life: music, television, sports, politics, business, journalism, all touched by the same small set of organizations. And that raises the real question of this episode, not whether these people happen to be members. It's why that mattered at all. Here's the idea underneath everything discussed to this point, because it's important to not have a misunderstanding. Black Greek letter organizations is not the only factor that made people successful. That's not the claim. Membership doesn't manufacture a Grammy, an MVP season, or a Supreme Court appearance. Black Greek letter organizations don't make that statement. What actually happened is smaller, and in some ways more powerful. These organizations became associated with success. If you repeatedly see lawyers, doctors, athletes, TV stars, and civil rights leaders, all wearing the same letters, your brain starts drawing a line between them. Greek life and success become linked in the public imagination, not because one caused the other, because you kept seeing them together. A student seeing a group of young black men winning almost every academic and social award and gathering together and showing their sign would covet that excellence. That is one of the biggest advertisements for BGLO. That association is exactly what you were watching build, name by name, across the last several minutes. Lay this out on a timeline, and a pattern appears. Starting from the early 1900s, the organizations themselves were founded. Their members were embedded in the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s. They acted as catalysts for change and organizers for protests. By the 1970s and 80s, that presence had moved fully into entertainment and sports. They were able to expand on their role as catalysts to enter new and pioneered fields. And by 1990, the moment we opened on, it wasn't just influence anymore. They started to become key players. It was cultural saturation. You didn't need to search for Black Greek life in 1990. It found you. Look at how each of them arrived. One side pledged as students, before the fame, before the resume, before anyone knew their name yet. The other side was welcomed in afterward, joining the organization as an established part of their story, rather than the start of it. This shift away from active membership is not only happening with the BGLO. Church membership has been declining for decades. So has union membership. So has participation in the civic clubs and lodges that used to anchor American neighborhoods. The kind of place you join not because you had to, but because that's just what people did. All community organizations that were formative. Black Greek letter organizations may simply be one thread in a much larger unraveling. Not a story about decline unique to them, but about something happening to institutions, period. So the 80s and 90s were wild. BGLO was evident in every aspect of not only Black American life, but American life in general. Then the visibility faded. The reasons run wider than any one culture, any one generation, any one organization. You know what hasn't faded? The letters are still there. Still active. Still recruiting. Still producing the CEOs, the judges, the politicians we started with. From Hurt to Harris, it is still there. If the platform got quieter, the people didn't disappear. Next time, where did they go? And why does the influence keep showing up in rooms most of us never see? With respect to BGLO members who were prominent in this era, what you've seen here is deliberately small. Not because this influence is small, but because we held every name in it to a standard most content on this subject doesn't bother with. We want to make sure membership is real. If you want to reminisce on why this was the pinnacle of BGLO influence, let us know in the comments. For now, this is what's verified. This is what's real. See you when I see you.